Hello everybody, welcome to this week's Walking Together. I want to talk about glory this week, real glory. I don't know if you've ever encountered God's glory or seen glory in somebody else, maybe even in yourself. Just pray that as we have this time together, that you'll encounter something of the nature and the heart of God, and that you'll gain more understanding of who He is and who we are and God's purposes. And I just pray that He refreshes you and blesses you, because we need it, don't we? We need that living water in our spirit, in our soul. We need the goodness of God every day, and we need His love and His gentle care. I want to base this week's talk on 1 Peter chapter 5 and verses 1 to 6. And Peter starts talking about the sufferings of Christ, and he says that he was an eyewitness of the sufferings of Christ and one who shares in the glory. What's glory? What really is glory? Now, there's a lot of counterfeits out there. I think fame is a counterfeit, success can be a counterfeit, power and finance, all these things, dominance, these are all a counterfeit of real glory. I think real glory, especially when it's connected to the life of God, it has to come from the heart. And glory is put within us because we're made in the image of God. Because He created each one of us and He is glorious. Make no mistake about it, God is glorious. And I think really, in truth, each one of us knows that we're meant to be glorious. None of us is actually really meant to be ordinary. God never made anything ordinary. No person is meant to be ordinary. There's a wonder and a majesty in the heart of God, and I believe He wants that to be expressed through us. I believe it comes out of knowing that you're loved, knowing that you're secure, you're accepted, you have a purpose, you are here by design, you are God's workmanship, and you're just being. We're just being who we're made to be, and that's when we reflect the glory of God. It's about who we're becoming. It's not about how we perform. It's about who we're becoming. And I think when we start to dominate, when we start to want fame and fortune, we lose something. We lose a lot, and we slip into the counterfeit. The glory of God comes out of wholeness. And our glory is expressed when we're living in the love of God and sharing the love of God without pretense, without fear, without inhibition, just living as the children of God. And we're all growing into it. And he speaks there, Peter, about it being unveiled, and it is being unveiled in us as we grow. Glory isn't a cheap thing. It's a majestic thing. It's a shiny thing. It's a wonderful thing, but it's not a cheap thing. We talked last week about suffering, and sometimes it's going through suffering that we learn to live in the glory, because all the fake and all the distorted begins to fall away, and the true glory begins to be revealed and shown. Because when we're full of shame, we hide, whereas when we know the glory of God in our innermost being, then the glory begins to show. Glory is never external. Glory always comes from within. It's about God's heart. It's about our heart, the glory of God, the wonder, the majesty of being fully alive. That's all part of what glory is. There is a cost. There is a loveliness. There is a beauty. We can never have all the glory. There was one who wanted all the glory, and he immediately lost it. He immediately, as he grasped it, he lost it. Our enemy wanted all the glory for himself. And that was it. He lost it. Completely gone. As soon as we start with that kind of stuff, we've just lost something. And as we realise and come back to what's authentic, there's always that, but he chose it. He gave his heart to, I want all the glory. I want the position. I. And he just lost the lot. Part of this thing over glory is we need to see it in other people too. Because if we think it's all ours, we really have lost it. That's how we care for each other properly. That's when we love each other properly. We see that glory in each other. It's not just about people's achievements. It's certainly not about their status or their intelligence. It's about the glory that's in them. And as we see with eyes of love, eyes of grace, eyes of discernment, we see the glory that God has put in each and every human being. And sometimes it's covered over with that much mess, like it was with us, like it still is in some areas of our lives. But it's being able to see that glory in other people and begin to speak life to it and to give those people the respect, to give those people the honour, and to just call out that glory, to see the God-given value and potential that is there, the beauty that God has invested in each and every one of us. It's about the creativity of God, seeing that in ourselves and in others, and living that song and that dance and that spirit life, not living a life of slavery or pretense, faking it, having to be top dog. We don't need any of that. We just need a heart that's in tune with God and with ourselves, a heart at rest in the goodness of God. I'm going to read Romans 13, 8 to 10. Don't run up debts, except for the huge debt of love you owe each other. When you love others, you complete what the law has been after all along. The law code: don't sleep with another person's spouse, don't take someone's life, don't take what isn't yours, don't always be wanting what you don't have, and any other don't you can think of. Finally adds up to this: love other people as well as you do yourself. You can't go wrong when you love others. When you add up everything in the law code, the sum total is love. That's from the Message. And I think love is what enables the glory to show. What motivates what you do? If it's about love, and if it's about wonder and worship, then we can love other people. Whereas when we're grasping and pushing, and then all kinds of rubbish comes out. But when we truly love each other, we'll treat each other properly. And this passage talks about being good shepherds, and that's not just about the one leader at the front, it's about all of us, how we care for each other, how we watch over each other, preserving and seeing the best and delighting in each other, and being able to accept just the fact that we have value, we have worth, they have worth, and just applauding and enjoying and appreciating and lifting up each other. That's what love does. And that is what enables us to serve. If it comes out of worthlessness, it's not the same. If it comes out of struggling and striving, it's not the same. But when it comes out of the sense of the majesty of the presence of God, and how amazing the other people are, and our joy in our journey in God, even though we're going through struggles, then the glory begins to show. And when the glory of God is manifested among us, things start to be transformed. Things start to change. Things start to come alive in a different way. And when we realise we were designed to be glorious, and we put off all those filthy rags of our own righteousness and let God do what he wants to do, to bring out the glory that he put there, the glory that was always there. And as we worship him in freedom and without fear and enjoy his glory will be seen more and more among us as we come together. And hearts and lives and bodies and minds will be healed and restored, and the fire will fall, and the wind will blow, and the nature of God will be seen among us. Oh, I want that so much. I want to see the glory of God. The glory, and that you can't pretend that. You can't work it up. You can't manufacture it. But you can choose to enter into the glory of God. We can choose life. We can choose his goodness. Those of you that know me, you know that I'm a gardener. I love gardening, but I can't make anything grow. I don't even understand the process of growth. I'm not a scientist. I don't understand how things grow, but I can cultivate them. I can bring the elements that encourage growth. I can protect against weeds and pests, and I can water, and I can shelter from extreme weather, and that's what we do. We can't make the glory come in ourselves or in others, but we can create the conditions. We can cultivate. We can open up our hearts before God, breaking up that ground, breaking up the hard parts, ripping out the weeds, make room for the glory of God. And it's all about love. It's all about grace and goodness. We need the kind of eyes that see the glory, because our eyes, sometimes we need that eye salve. We need our eyes making whole so that we can see in a different way. Be content with who you are and don't put on airs. God's strong hand is on you. He'll promote you at the right time. Live carefree before God. He is most careful with you. That's 1 Peter 5, 6 and 7 in the Message. We don't need to be anxious. We don't need to be struggling and striving and elbowing our way forward. We just need to be deeply rooted in the love and in the goodness and in the grace of God. Ephesians 2 and chapter 10 from the Passion, it says, we have become his poetry, a recreated people that will fulfill the destiny he has given each of us, for we are joined to Jesus, the Anointed One. Even before we were born, God planned in advance our destiny and the good works we would do to fulfill it. We can't manufacture any of this, but we can become God's poetry as we let him fashion us, as we let him fill us with his Spirit, as we let him prune us and lift us and love us. We can become his poetry, free from self-consciousness, free from all those self things. And we can live in the goodness of God. We can live to dance and sing and not live in shame anymore. That was never God's purpose, for us to live in shame. And religion wants to bring us back to shame. But the love of God wants to bring us back to glory and to the freedom. Only one is worthy of all the glory. But we are also being changed from glory to glory as he is at work in us, and as we are reflecting his nature, and as we're learning more and more of who he is, and learning more and more of who we are. Love people as well as we love ourselves. Never have to prove a point, just digging deep into the goodness of God and walking out in freedom. So the verses that I asked you to read were 1 Peter chapter 5 verses 1 to 6, but I want to read you verses 1 to 7 from the Message. I have a special concern for you, church leaders. I know what it's like to be a leader, in on Christ's sufferings as well as the coming glory. Here's my concern, that you care for God's flock with all the diligence of a shepherd, not because you have to. See, glory, it comes out of freedom. It doesn't come out of obligation. We don't need to owe anybody anything except love. And when we love them, we will do what's right. Even when we're suffering, even when we don't have all that we want. Out of that love, we'll do what's right with the diligence of a shepherd. Because love takes care better than anything else, better than obligation. But the thing that we owe to each other is love. The love of God, the grace of God. Care for God's flock with all the diligence of a shepherd, not because you have to, but because you want to please God. Such a freedom in living to please God. There's such a freedom in living in his sunshine and knowing that his sunshine is shining in you and on you. The freedom of that, the grace of living in the light of glory. Not calculating what you can get out of it, but acting spontaneously. We don't need anything out of it because we've already got everything that we need from him. He is all that we need. There's rivers to swim in the glory of God. There's rivers that take us out of our depth in the goodness of God. I hope you've tasted of that glory, and I hope you want more, because I certainly do. And I want to see the glory of God revealed. Whoa. And it's genuine, it's spontaneous, it's not plotted and schemed and, oh, God is so good, you know. Not bossily telling others what to do, but tenderly showing them the way. When God, who is the best shepherd of all, comes out in the open with his rule, he'll see that you've done it right and commend you lavishly. And you who are younger must follow your leaders. But all of you, leaders and followers alike, are to be down to earth with each other. God has had it with the proud, but takes delight in just plain people, just simple, genuine people. Because all the masks, they just cut the sunlight out. All the masks and all the performances. Whereas when we just simply are, when we just simply breathe in him and breathe him out and let him do his work in us, just be plain and simple and honest. God has had it with the proud, but takes delight in just plain people. So be content with who you are and don't put on airs. Because what's fake never satisfies. Glory can never be faked. Real glory is tried and beautiful and eternal. Real glory comes from the hand of God. Don't ever try and fake it. We work towards it. We stretch towards it, but you can't manufacture it. And certainly, let's not fake it, because it becomes something ugly very quickly. God's strong hand is on you. He'll promote you at the right time. Live carefree before God. He is most careful with you. When you know the glory of God, you don't need position. You don't need importance. You don't need to maneuver anybody, because your soul knows the goodness of God. Your soul knows his approval. Your soul knows his joy. And it's not something that you look for far away. It's about your heart being deeply connected to the heart of God. Then you can know his glory. You can live in his glory in the good times and in the bad. Because glory is the love and the goodness of God. God bless you.